Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, how are you now? I'm fine by the way, but actually I'm not really fine. But whatever it is, just forget it. Okay, come back to my channel again. Now I'm going to explain about passive and stative passive for my final class in basic grammar English lesson. So check it out. Okay, the first part I want to explain about the passive or the passive voice. What is the passive voice? Okay, the passive voice is a way of forming sentences so that the focus is on the person or thing receiving the actions. This is in contrast to active sentences, which focus on the person or thing performing the actions. Look at these examples. You are going to see that the passive expresses an action, but the focus is on the receiver of the action, not the performance. The song is called Out Lang Syne. The emphasis is on the song, not who's calling it something. It was written a long time ago. Again, the emphasis is on the song. It, not who wrote it. Here in the US, I usually sung on New Year's Eve. Once again, the emphasis is on it. The song, not who's singing it. And lastly, I'll share a recording that was made by a friend of mine. I named the performer, but the emphasis, the focus, is still on the receiver of the actions, which is the recording. In this last example, we name the performer. You can name the performer of the actions with a by phrase, by plus whom. But the passive doesn't necessarily include a by phrase. In the first three examples, I didn't include one. There are different reasons why. What is the form of the passive or passive voice? The passive voice uses form of be plus past participle. The past participle is the third form of a verb. For example, she, sang, sung. Past participle. And then, if you want to name the performer, you use a by phrase. The form of be tells you the verb tense. We can form the passive in the past, present, or future. Okay, now we are going to talk or explain about stative passive. What is the stative passive? Okay, just check it out. The stative passive is a special kind of passive contractions. Stative verbs cannot be used with continuous tense too. We are no longer expressing an actions. Instead, we are describing a state, a condition. The form is the same. Here are the examples. You will see a form of be plus past participle. The song is associated with New Year's Eve. Robert Burns is known as the author of the lyrics. This is the action being expressed here. Instead, the past participle is helping us describe the subject. Associated describes the song. Known describes Robert Burns, a Scottish poet. Okay, you can see on my Microsoft PowerPoint that means that the past participle functions more like an adjective rather than a verb. And another important thing that okay, you can see on my Microsoft PowerPoint that means that the past participle functions more like an adjective rather than a verb. And another important thing that to note is because we are not expressing an actions, there is no possibility of naming the performer with a by phrase. Instead, we have form of be plus past participle and preposition not necessary by. There are two examples associated with and known as. Other examples you may know like dressed in, excited about, annoyed with. All of those are examples of past participle plus preposition with the past participle being used to describe the subject. Okay guys, now I'd like you to look at the three sentences. We are going to compare an active sentence to a passive sentence, and then the passive to the stative passive. If you recall, I talked about Robert Burns, and I said that he is known as the author of Auld Lang Syne. Well, it is true that Robert Burns is a well-known Scottish poet, but the truth is he wrote only some of the words. Okay, the truth is he wrote only some of the words to Auld Lang Syne. In this first sentence, our verb is wrote, and this is an active structure. The subject is the performer of the actions. Of the actions. I'm sorry. By the way. He wrote. Burns did the writing. He wrote only some of the words. And in our second example, we are talking about writing an action, and we name the performer. Sorry, but the emphasis is not on the performer, but the receiver of the actions. The subject is the words. Only some of the words were written by Burns, so the focus changed. In both sentences, we are still describing an action. We are expressing an action. So the second sentence is passive. And then look at the third sentence. This is true. He wrote down words to Auld Lang Syne, but words that he had heard and that he added to them. He was writing these words down because he wanted to preserve this old Scottish song. In fact, He did this for other songs too. He was preserving Scottish culture. So here we have was divided, but we are no longer expressing an actions. We are describing bonds. We are describing his character. He was devoted to saving Scottish culture. So this is an example of the stative passive. Okay guys, that's all about today. I hope you can understand my explanation. Don't forget to like and comment. Thank you for watching my video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.